What's the most important thing that a diaspora minister should be out to accomplish?
Empower Jewish identity.
I'm putting you in a tough spot. I know that.
No, I think we can do better. That's for sure.
It's not fair that the American Jewish community hasn't had you interact with them like this, in my opinion, because I think it's what they need. Hi, welcome to Wine with Adam. I'm your host, Adam Scott Bellos, and today we are filming live in the city of Jerusalem from the Jerusalem Theater, the new beautiful building that graces the Golden City of Jerusalem. Today, I have a very, very special guest, my very good friend, minister in the Israeli government, Minister of Diaspora Affairs, Amichai Chikli. Amichai.
Shalom, shalom.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Before we get into everything, we're going to open up a bottle of wine, and you're going to tell me how it tastes and what you smell, what you think. So even though I haven't introduced you completely yet to our viewers, you are from the kibbutz in where this winery, the Jezreel winery, is located.
Amen.
And today we are going to be drinking the 2020 Carignan from the Jezreel winery. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Amichai, 41 years old, married,
Amen.
husband, father of three, former member of Golani, member of Shayatet 13, Shayatet 13th, which is somewhat like the Navy SEALs, correct? Okay, you have a master's in security and diplomacy from Tel Aviv University. You are currently the minister of the diaspora. What's the most important thing that a diaspora minister should be out to accomplish?
The challenge today is the Ministry of the Diaspora is Jewish kids. How can we make Jewish kids involved in Jewish identity? How can we make sure they hear a nigun, they open Siddur, they know something about the history of the Jewish people, about the Zionist movement? So, what is the threat to Jewish identity that is coming from the outside?
You're asking me what is the threat? I would say assimilation, anti-Semitism.
Assimilation is coming from within.
Right.
You mentioned new anti-Semitism, the BDS. So it's an attack.
Yeah.
Not by bullets or missiles. It's an attack
Or a rocket.
on Jewish identity. An attack on identity and a weak identity. That's why it's a dangerous moment, and it's all connected to what we're seeing on the political, cultural dimension, and that's the challenge. It's a serious crisis. And in serious crisis, you need to have a serious effort to regain control and to win.
So would you say your goal as minister of the diaspora is to help the Jewish people regain control?
Empower Jewish identity. Because today, this is something that young Jews in U.S. campuses, they are escaping. They don't want to be identified as Jews because they can be attacked for being Jewish, for being openly Jewish, for admitting that they love the state of Israel, that they care about Zionism. And yes, I know Israel is not perfect, far from perfect. The government is not perfect, far from perfect. But eventually, we don't have another state. We don't have another people. We have many challenges. It is the 75th anniversary of the State of Israel. And for the sake of our children and for the sake of the future generation, we need to cross this challenge and to cross it successfully.
You grew up with a father that was a Masorti rabbi, okay, which means that you were probably more educated, if I'm correct, on tradition and values and ideas more so than observance, which means that the overarching nuance of things were probably hammered into you in terms of collective peoplehood. Does that help you in the role that you're...
Very much. So Judaism in America and Judaism here in Israel, its difference. First of all, Judaism in America is outside of politics. Judaism in Israel is, and politics, it's all together. Israel is far more tough country.
Yes.
In terms of the reality.
Yes.
Far more conservative, far more connected to the idea of nationalism, far more local, far less global, far less into tikkun olam, far more into
tikkun ha'am. Yeah. Like much more so.
And I'm very happy that it helps me, because here in Israel, people are very afraid of the liberal streams of Judaism in the U.S. Most of them, they are not aware of the size of liberal Judaism outside of the state of Israel, and they are very alienated, and they are a bit afraid, I think, of this form of Judaism. And me myself, I consider myself to be a simple Jew. I'm not in any specific stream. I'm very connected to Judaism, but I'm not identifying with any particular stream. But I'm very open, and to anyone can express his Jewish identity the way he wants.
I would like to know, and I think there's a lot of people that would like an answer to this question.
Ken.
As Minister of the Diaspora, you oversee a majority of the projects that are meant to go out to the diaspora, enhance Jewish identity. You oversee a number of different organizations as well. So what I would like to know personally is, how can you regulate wasteful spending in the Jewish world? Jewish philanthropy is a $6 billion industry annually. There are many initiatives being launched, but we don't see any measurable results from these initiatives. We don't see an increase in Aliyah. We do not see an increase in Hebrew speakers. Okay, what can be done to help prevent not only wasteful spending on these types of projects, but also smarter investment in communities? I'm putting you in a tough spot. I know that.
No. I think we can do better. That's for sure. I've learned in the few months in the office that there are actually extremely effective projects, and I can mention some of them. And there's a deep learning and research about these organizations, and we do see results. We see momentum is a very powerful initiative. We see projects like Route 1, like Taglit. There are powerful projects, very powerful projects, and with great results. But yes, I think the way I see the Ministry of Diaspora is like I've been the head of venture capital.
That's a very interesting way to put it.
That's how I look at it. And I'm responsible as a Shaliach of Am Yisrael to make the best investment for Am Yisrael and for Jewish future generations.
How important is Hebrew for the diaspora?
Crucial. We are a nation that made out of letters. There is no Judaism without Aleph Bet. There is no Judaism without the Siddur, without the Tanakh.
Here's my next question.
Ken.
How do you create a demand for Hebrew?
And so I was trying to suggest that first we need to answer, why should Brother be a Jew? Only then you can go to Hebrew. We are living in a generation where you can choose identity. You can switch identity. You have a constant...
You can choose your gender.
You can choose everything. You can everything is open, and there is endless information that is washing reality. And it is very, very hard to determine who you are. Who am I in this world that allows me to be anything, anytime? And I think that the question is, why should I bother? Why should I care about Judaism? Why? Why is it relevant? Why not just, I'm just a human being, a globalist creature who believes in Tikkun Olam, and that's it. And I think that here, it's a philosophical question, and I think that Judaism was never more relevant than today. So what are these components that without them there is no Judaism? What's the essence of Judaism? And so this question was appointed to Hillel. Hillel HaZaken.
Al regel echad.
Al regel achat, on one leg, the entire Torah. מה ששנוא עליך אל תעשה לחברך.
Do unto others as you would want unto you.
And Rabbi Akiva says, ואהבת לרעך כמוך.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah. And so trying to be a mensch is one leg. Second is Shabbat. 24 hours. Everything can wait. We have time for the faces of our children. But I think that the deepest idea of Shabbat is that we believe that the soul should govern the matter. And that is the idea of Shabbat. Third is the idea of Limud Torah. And that's why I said before, there is no Judaism without books. And it's from the Bible to the Mishnah to the Gemara, and so on and so on. And the last thing is Eretz Israel. We are a local, and we are a nation. We're not a globalist culture. We're not the Jews of the world. The Jews are from Eretz Israel. They are from Judea. We are from here. We are from Jerusalem. We are from Har HaMoriah. We are from Shiloh. We are from Hebron. We are from Eretz Israel. Face it. That's it. Judaism eventually says there is only one truth. And only if there is truth, you can have good and bad. Only if you have truth, you can have moral life. Otherwise, there is no morality without truth.
Yeah.
And the idea of progressive, the deep idea is that there is no truth. This is all relative. And we are just very, very advanced animals.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm saying...
I never say that I agree on but I agree.
And
Very much so.
I'm saying if you are a Jew, you will never agree to the idea that says that we are just advanced animals.
It's not fair that the American Jewish community hasn't had you interact with them like this, in my opinion, because I think it's what they need. I say this with interest in the last 3 years when you were a member of Yamina. I think a lot of people would like to know what was going through your head when you decided to help bring down the national unity government.
The government that was created was anything but unity. It banned the entire Masorti public, the Likud, and the Haredim, and the Datiim, and they made a government with the entire left. They were kept outside because it basically broke the contract with the voters. Our agenda was a right-wing agenda, was to establish a Zionist, a right-wing government. I said, look, it's a democracy. We represent the voters. We cannot cheat the voters. We cannot deceive them. We cannot betray them.
So do you think that betrayal of trust led to the rise of extremism in Israel, especially on the far right now?
Well, absolutely, because eventually we had many elections and political instability. And I think that the weakness of the former government was that huge parts of Israeli society were not represented. And it was not close to a unity government. But now we need to be very honest. We are facing a similar problem with this government because the entire center and the entire left is out. And that's also...
that's fascinating to hear you say that and admit that.
And it creates instability, political instability. And it's true, but it was not our choice. So Bibi is banned.
Right.
The Likud is banned. And therefore,
you're unable to create a centrist coalition.
I want a right-wing coalition,
right.
But I think...
a center-right.
Center-right,
yeah.
I think, is where the majority of the public is staying. Speaking about Netanyahu... there is no leader
comparison.
Yeah, and it's a different scale.
Yeah,
in terms of his capabilities, his English, his intellectual, and his political power in the masses. To suggest that he wants to have a dictatorship, that's the greatest joke. You just couldn't bring the masses with you. You couldn't bring the people with you. More than 2 million people voted for the right-wing parties. All knew who is the leader of the right wing. There's no debate who is the leader. Unlike the left, center left, they don't really have a leader.
They don't have a leader, and they don't have a leader that can consolidate.
No, yes, Yair Lapid is I don't really get the message. What's his message? It's
I'm not Bibi.
Yeah, I'm not. Just not Bibi. It's like an immature, a grown-up baby.
Do you think the way that he's playing politics right now is dangerous?
Wow, extremely dangerous. Yes,
because I do find
he's undermining the legitimacy of the government, in the sense that everything is kosher to bring it down, meaning they want to see chaos in order to bring down the government, no matter what will be the outcomes, no matter what would be the results, to create unhappiness. And basically they're leading a rebellion against a legal government and not a political protest. And I'm speaking about Lapid, and I'm speaking about Ehud Barak. I'm not speaking about the average citizen that goes with a Israeli flag and is concerned about the reform. That's absolutely legitimate. We are a democracy. I'm happy that people can go and protest and express their feelings. That's perfect.
I'm going to ask you my final question. It's what I ask every single person that comes on this program. And I think you're very fit to answer this question.
Sure.
I'm getting ready to be a bar mitzvah. If you could sum up everything that you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
Let's keep it for Friday.
Oh, that's so not fair. That's so not fair. But fine, on Friday, in Hanaton, at Yekev Emek Jezreel.
Yeah.
Let's do L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. We will continue in another location at the Jezreel Winery in about 72 hours. L'chaim. Hi, welcome to Wine with Adam. I'm your host, Adam Scott Bellos, and we're here for round 2 of Wine with Adam with Amichai Chikli. Because for some reason we didn't get to finish our interview.
It's too much wine for 1 week.
Is it really too much wine for 1 week? Like, you can never... Today, we are drinking the Syrah right now from Jezreel Valley Winery. Before, we were drinking do you remember?
The Carignan.
The Carignan, which is, by the way, another excellent Mediterranean grape here at the Jezreel Valley Winery that they make. Just to start off, so as like the Minister of Diaspora Affairs, you're ready to sit down and try to fix...
I'll sit down with everyone.
And like, what would you say is like the first thing that you want to fix? Real quick, just top of your head. First thing.
The first thing we need to fix is the basic Jewish education. Our main problem is not the liberal streams. Our main problem is the fact that most of young Jews, they don't learn.
So Jewish literacy.
They don't know Hebrew.
Right.
They know nothing about Judaism. They know nothing about Zionism.
How do you think American Jewish leadership could improve in order to enhance the cultural literacy of the next generation?
I think first thing we need young generation of leaders. And second, we need to build the foundations for Jewish education, kindergarten, Jewish day schools.
Is your ministry responsible? Is the Israeli education ministry responsible for helping with that?
We do see ourselves as responsible for helping Jewish communities abroad, especially in America, the largest Jewish community outside of Israel, to have stronger Jewish education.
Do you feel that like what's going on in the streets right now and the protests and also what's going on with the disconnect with the diaspora, to me, I feel like it screams not political crisis, but spiritual crisis. And that there is something to do with not listening to each other, but like it feels like there's something much deeper at work that's separating us. And it has to do with a lot of what you're saying, which is that the root of Zionism and the root of Judaism is not being properly given to the next generation.
100%. So above the surface, the debate is Bibi, not Bibi, this government, the other government, we appoint judges this way or that way. And this is a complete fog. When the state of Israel was established, the bigger waves and the more powerful waves in terms of leadership was the second wave of immigrations.
The second Aliyah.
Second Aliyah. Generally, they said, we are sick of the Galut. We are sick of the Galut. We want to have a transformative form of Judaism, Hebrewism. We want labor, we want weapon, and in order to distinguish itself from the Galut Judaism, it made a very significant mistake. And it distinguished itself from Judaism, not from the Galut, but from Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the creation of a new identity. Today we call it the Israeli identity. And the protest has been between the Israeli identity and Jewish identity.
But don't you think that's a little unfair?
That's the reality.
Don't you think that's a little unfair? Like, that's almost breaking it down to be like, the religious people are on one side, and the seculars...
It's not just...
Because there are religious people in the protests right now.
The core of the protest is secular, secular extremists. The more secular you are, the more you're closer to the core of the demonstrations. There are many reasons for demonstrations, the judicial reform, against Bibi, against the government. I think we have many problems in the government. I don't think that the government is perfect. Far, far away.
So you're not saying it's totally black and white.
It's not totally. This is the core of it.
But I think it's a little simplistic.
It is simplistic. I'm just saying that this is
the core.
The core.
That's the core.
Above it, it's like an onion.
Right.
You have many, many things. It's all true.
Final question, because we've spent so much time together and I don't want to take more of it, and it's Yom Shishi. I'm getting ready for my bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like you to sum up everything that you've learned in one sentence for me.
So I think, for sure, one of them is Veshuv Yom Echad Lifnei Mitatcha. I think that this is the greatest sentence when you need to take serious decisions. And it basically says, imagine yourself as a grandpa, or imagine your funeral. What will you say as a grandfather to your children about this specific dilemma you have? How did you act it? Or what do you want people to think at the end of the journey? Veshuv Yom Echad Lifnei Mitatcha.
It's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah. Masechet Avot.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to my very special guest, Minister Amichai Chikli from the Likud Party, meeting me 2 days this week so that we could get a full interview. First in the Jerusalem Theater, and now in his home village of Hanaton, where he lives on the Mazorti Kibbutz, right next to our great partner, Jezreel Winery. And if you like the wines that we drink, the Carignan or the Syrah from Jezreel Wine, you can find it at wineonthevine.com. If you want to plant a vine with the Jezreel Winery, you can find it at wineonthevine.org. And remember, when you are drinking your Israeli wine, drink it with somebody you love. L'chaim.